¿Qué hacen aquí? Engaño por tierra. Buscan a Kelly. No hay donde soltar la pelota. East Stick trata de comprar tiempo. Suelta, flota. Touchdown. Cayó el rayo. Chargers anotan. Josh Palmer. Dale 6. Y excelente la lectura de East Stick. Picó bien el palito para soltar el rayito.
Shout out to Adrian Garcia Marquez and Francisco Pinto. That was them on the call for the Chargers highlight from Sunday's preseason game against the San Francisco 49ers. Make sure to listen to them for every Chargers game on Que Buena, 105.5 and 94.3 FM. But if you're not in the LA area, I know we got many listeners in Mexico and San Diego. You can find Adrian and Francisco worldwide on the Chargers radio network. Okay. So, it was a rough week for your boy Dan and Dago. My guy, Tim Tebow was cut by the Jaguars. And I somehow lost in the battle of the egos with Gilberto. I still question the judge's decision a little bit. I need to look at that scorecard, but whatever. And to top it all off, my Chargers have me worried about the offensive line depth again. What's new? Your boy Dan and Dago has been hitting the proper number 12 a little too hard because of all this. He's stressed out, but that's okay. Dan and Dago won't be down for long, and it's only the preseason for the Chargers, and Tim Tebow will bounce back like he always does. As for that stooge, Gilberto, we have decided to bury the hatchet and produce the best damn podcast in the universe. But don't worry, listeners. I won't always be nice to him. He'll catch me on a bad day, and then he's going to get these hands, as one of my favorite wrestlers you would say, Braun Strowman. But you want to know why Compas on the Beat is the best podcast and no one ever comes close? Because we have delivered the biggest guest in all of the football landscape. Today's grand guest is the man they call RapSheet. That's Mr. Ian Rapoport, the NFL insider for NFL Network. He took a break from breaking NFL news and chopped it up with the Compas. The Compas also got into the Chargers' preseason loss to the San Francisco 49ers. I'm so glad it's only preseason because I would not be happy right now. But let's save the rants for the regular season when there's more to play for. Also, the Compas got into combat sports talk. We should name one of these segments Combat Compas. For now, breaks down WWE SummerSlam, and Gilberto tells us what happened with the legendary Manny Pacquiao. But before we get to the show, have you subscribed to Compas on the Beat on YouTube and followed us on Instagram? Do it now because we currently have a giveaway. It's something really awesome. Gilberto is giving away the first ever Chargers flip card with Justin Herbert listed as a backup. What a rare item. Now let's get to the best damn podcast in the universe. Play the music, Nando! Welcome to Compas on the Beat. I'm Fernando Ramirez, Chargers beat reporter for Sports Illustrated, and with me, as always, is my co-host and tag team partner, Gilbert Manzano, Chargers beat reporter for the OC Register and LA Daily News. What's up, bro?
Hey, Fernando. You know what? I'm glad you recognized me. I'm trying something new with the glasses on today. You know, it's a day off for the Chargers, so instead of wearing contacts, I went with glasses, so hopefully that's okay with you, Fernando. But, you know, I'm also a little tired. You know, that preseason game with the Chargers and the 49ers, so many errors. It was like 24 flags. I was getting tired. But you know what, Fernando? Me and my glasses are pumped for this episode of Compas on the Beat because we have a big guest. My good friend now, Dan and Dago, said it in the promo. RapSheet, Ian Rapoport is on the show. Man, we are delivering big-time guests. But I should probably say you, Fernando. I'm going to give you the credit for Ian Rapoport. I saw you, you know, talking to him at Chargers training camp. But how did you get Ian on the show, man?
Bro, that's what we're all about here at Compas. No, so basically, I mean, I had met him in 2016 in San Diego. Super nice guy. Obviously, he's not going to remember me. He sees so many faces. But when I found out that NFL Network was going to be at Chargers, I was like, you know what? I'm going to head over there a little bit early, see if I can talk to RapSheet and see and just kick it with him, talk to him. So I show up early and I start talking with him, and he asked me about the team a little bit. The first thing he asked me is, what have you thought about, or he's like, what's one thing that stood out to you? And I'm like, Derwin James is very, 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 very good, and he's back. And then he just starts laughing. He's like, wow, that's an understatement. And I was like, yeah, it really is. So yeah, so I just I obviously, like, he had to do on air stuff, and then after I saw him standing by himself, and I was like, hey, Ian, I was just wondering if you would want to jump on with us on Compas. He's like, yeah, let's do it. So he gave me his email, and then he gave me an NFL Network media relations email. He's like, just email him and we'll get it all straightened out. I was like, oh, okay, perfect. So that's how we were able to get him on. And it was honestly, it was awesome. It was pretty cool to book a guest like that.
Yeah, I didn't believe you at first. Like, what? You're gonna get RapSheet on the show? Ian Rapoport, the guy who's always breaking all the news in the NFL world. All right, I'll believe it when I see it. Or what did Mahomes say? I'll see it when I believe it.
Well, I had to match you because you were able to hook it up with Chad Johnson. So I was like, okay, I got to match Gilbert. So I tried to go for RapSheet, and it went. It's a good little back and forth that we have, Gilbert, because the more we book great guests, the more this podcast grows.
Yeah, we're like Michael Badgley and Tristan Vizcaino. I keep getting it wrong. By the way, I'm gonna give you an apology. I said last week you were saying Vizcaino wrong. It's Vizcaino, and now I'm struggling to remember. But yes, this is our rivalry. Who gets a bigger guess? And it's like Badgley and Vizcaino, or should we go Easton Stick and Chase Daniel? I don't know.
I don't know which one's better out of the two comparisons, but speaking of backup quarterbacks, Gilbert, the contest is still on for your Justin Herbert flip card, where he's a backup for a reason. So definitely something to take a. So yeah, there you go, there he is. Something to that fans need to take advantage of, because honestly, you know what, Gilbert? I was a little surprised about how many fans have entered into the contest, and they really want that flip card from you.
Yeah, we're approaching around maybe 90 people who have entered the contest. Hopefully, we get over 100. I reshared it on my Twitter saying, don't forget, subscribe to the Compas on the Beat YouTube channel, follows on Instagram. Those are the biggest things on the contest for the giveaway. And just, mention Compas on my tweet to make it easy for me. And I saw a lot of quote tweets. I saw a lot of comments on Compas. So people are really excited for this rare item of Justin Herbert being a backup behind Tyrod Taylor at SoFi Stadium. So I was kind of, unsure how people will kind of react to it. Like, it's like, oh, it's a flip card, whatever. But, people were kind of saw it the way I did that day of, that kind of memorable day at SoFi Stadium, which is kind of approaching a year now. We're getting close. I think September 20, 2020. So you want this item. I will end the contest on Friday. After that, I will tally everybody who entered, either via quote tweet, commented on the tweet, or maybe kind of, they don't have Twitter, so they kind of found ways. Somebody even DM me. People have told me on YouTube, I want to enter the contest. I'm gonna, count them up, and then next week we'll we'll show it. We'll reveal it on Compas on the Beat and kind of make it a big deal for the winner.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a cool little contest that we're gonna get. We're gonna start getting. Hopefully, try and do a little bit more of these. It'll be a lot of fun. But for right now, Gilbert, we got some stuff to talk about. You mentioned it, last night's Sunday night's preseason game. Let's go a little bit with your thoughts from the game, and kind of, is there somebody that's maybe piquing your interest, a guy that maybe not a lot of people are talking about, but you're like, oh wow, maybe he can make his way onto the 53-man roster?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. We keep talking about, why is Jerry Tillery not playing in these games? Like, he hasn't started a lot of games. I feel like he needs to prove himself a little bit. And we start thinking maybe they want to see these defensive tackles step up, because right now there's a lack of depth on the defensive line. Speaking of depth, we'll talk about the offensive line and that depth there. But sticking to the D-line depth, I think maybe that's kind of helped out guys like, Braden Fehoko, Forrest Amaro. Like, these guys have stepped up. And I've kind of been, tinkering with my 53-man roster projection, and I keep saying to myself, it's hard to get these guys on the roster because there's so many other spots. But man, I'll let you get more on Forrest Murrow, because you've been on the train for him. I think our good friend Adrian Garcia Marquez, who kind of had that, led us into the show with that soundbite, calls him El Tanque. And I know you've been big on him. So I'll go with Braden Fejoco. And he had a pretty nice game on Sunday, especially in rushing defense. Like he started off fast. He was clogging lanes, being a disruptor. So Fejoco, who was in the practice squad a year ago, notable name from LSU and Hawaii with his family there. He's pushing. It's going to be tough to make the roster, but the defensive tackle stood out to me.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you. And what's funny, Gilbert, is because we were around Anthony for so many years, you could kind of predict in a sense, excuse me, who maybe could make the roster, who had been shining. And literally there was probably 1 or 2 surprises on Anthony's 53-man roster. I think we're going to get a lot of surprises here, Gilbert. For some reason, I just feel like the Chargers are going to push, we just don't know what Brandon Staley's going to do. We've never seen him as a head coach. So I think it's going to be unique what he's going to do this year. You talked about Forrest Mallor. I'll talk about him real quick. I think that the guy's earned at least a practice squad roster spot. He's big. He can really push guys. I know he's short, but he makes himself known. Because he's short, he gets himself lower than a lot of the offensive linemen. So he's able to get great push, which is what Braden Fejoco also does. Somebody like Jerry Tillery, who's 6'5", sometimes he doesn't. Why do you think Aaron Donald gets good push? Aaron Donald's, I think, 6 or 6'1". He's able to get lower, pad level lower, and he's able to get a great push. Jerry Tillery doesn't. Jerry Tillery stands up kind of, and he's not really a low guy because he is so tall. So that's where it kind of, and why do you think Linval Joseph also, who's a little bit shorter, he's big, but he's able to get short too and kind of move guys and stuff. So it's going to be interesting. But for me, a guy that I think is going to end up making the roster is receiver KJ Hill. I think that they've been using him in special teams. They've been using him as the punt returner. Yesterday, they used him as a kickoff returner. So I think KJ Hill, it's not that he's done anything huge to really stand out or anything, but I just feel like they're going to go KJ Hill. I think he's going to end up making the roster because of that kind of stuff. And he's gotten better as a receiver, but this has been like when we watched him in during the practices and everything, he's kind of stood out a bit whether it's Easton, whether it's Chase. So it'll be interesting to see at the end of the day if he makes the roster, but I believe that KJ Hill's done enough now kind of to really put himself right there in there's Austin Pearl might be behind me, but he's behind me. He's not next to me. And I feel like that's really what KJ has done lately. And hey, your best quality is being available, and KJ Hill's been available this whole offseason.
Yeah, the other thing that we have to take into account is the injuries are kind of currently going on with the Chargers, which could create roster spots. We don't know. We saw with the COVID reserve list, they brought some guys back. Nas went on it, Ryan Smith went on it, and then they brought a couple guys back. So it could be a lot of shuffling and matching to kind of take into account the injuries, and maybe guys sneak in that way. And the tight end's gonna be crowded, like Steven Anderson and Hunter Campmoyer, are behind Donald Parham, but Parham is an injury. Gabe Neighbors, a fullback, maybe a tight end squeaks in because Neighbors is hurt. Ryan Smith is hurt. Maybe a cornerback like John Brandon gets a spot because Ryan Smith is hurt. So we got to think about the injuries, and that could create spots, and also performances. Guys could lose jobs. And when I did my 53-man roster before the game on Sunday, I had Storm Norton and Trey Pipkins on the roster, and they played very poorly throughout the week. And you heard Brandon Staley mention how he's not happy with Storm Norton and Trey Pipkins. Maybe that could create a roster spot there for somebody else that is doing well at a different position. And I gotta say, Brandon Staley, when he mentioned that, these guys got a really accurate picture of where they're at with their struggles, I didn't really see it as a big shot at them, because he's so, I guess, relaxed and calm when he talks, Brandon Staley. And even when he's kind of, motivating guys, he says it in a nice way, and you kind of play it back like, whoa, this guy really was brutally honest about the performances that even caught the attention of famous ESPN analyst Mina Kimes, who I'm a big fan of Mina. And I woke up this morning and I got a quote tweet from Mina saying that she liked how Brandon Staley phrased how how Storm and Trey performed with the picture thing, there. So that was kind of cool surprise. But yeah, but Brandon Staley kind of being brutally honest, I kind of like it, because for a second I thought Brandon Staley was gonna be so positive. He's gonna say everybody's doing well, everybody's playing well here, participation trophies kind of thing. But nope, he's being honest. I kind of like that.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, the thing is that there's no way that he could have escaped that question yesterday. I mean, you saw it. Trey Pipkins gave up the safety. Storm Norton was allowing guys on his side. Then they moved Trey over to left tackle. Still the same things were happening. And I mean, we've talked about it, and we've talked about Trey Pipkins, and we've always heard his development. It's been, I think he's going into his third year.
I want to say third. Yeah, third. He was drafted 2019 with with Jerry Tillery and third round pick.
That draft class is looking even worse and worse. I mean, Drew Tranquil is the only thing saving that draft class. I now look at it, and I haven't seen, like, from when we saw him at the beginning of his rookie year to now, how much have we really seen from him improve? Like, he's still making some mistakes that you're like, whoa. And I don't know if the Chargers have even thought about maybe kicking him inside. Maybe he'd do better as a guard. I don't know if the Chargers have thought about it or not, but he just looks too slow. He gets beaten by speed on the edge. So that to me, it's a huge question mark. And I like you said, that Brandon Staley was honest with us, but man, he has to be nervous if Brian Bulaga, and that's why I asked him that question, and then that's why I asked him if this was a regular season game, would Brian Bulaga and Rashawn Slater have played? Because I know for a fact, well, not know for a fact, but I could see it in Brandon's eyes, like, you're nervous if that's what you have behind your two starters, because Justin Herbert is just going to go. Justin Herbert is going to be the same thing as he's going to be running around the way he was last year, having to find guys. I know Corey Linsley, Matt Filer, and O'Day are now the guard and the center, but those tackles, that you can't be having your quarterback running around like he was last year, and some of those big shots that he took, and he was able to get up from them. But this year, I mean, you don't want to play with fire like that again.
Yeah, the only good thing is that it is a preseason, and maybe we shouldn't, magnify it too much, because these guys are backups, some backups for a reason, by the way. And that when the season comes around, it's gonna be Rashawn Slater and Brian Bulaga. But then if injuries come around, then you're back to the dilemma of you're gonna play Storm or Trey. Like, they really struggle badly, but who knows? Hopefully for the Chargers, Rashawn and Brian Bulaga are healthy and they stay that way. But knowing this team's history, there's going to be an injury or two on the offensive line. But it is only preseason, and that's why we shouldn't kind of panic too much about that. But it is some concern on the offensive line depth. And by the way, check out our post-game recap show on Apple and Spotify, Compas on the Beat, Chargers and 49ers takeaways, with a special guest appearance from Mr. Uncle Joe Reedy, who just came off SummerSlam festivals in Las Vegas. That was pretty fun. Make sure to check that out. We would go more in depth there. But for me, I kind of want to talk about the crowd a little bit. The preseason games, how they kind of dragging on. By the fourth quarter, it was kind of still a close game. I was really into the DJ music. I'm like, oh, they're playing some System of a Down, La Chona. So all my music from my childhood, and then it's okay, I gotta wake me up from this preseason game.
And you see Gilbert and I kind of like head bopping a little bit.
Nobody in the press box knows what La Chona is, so we're just kind of like moving around. So the music was cool. It was technically the first home game for the Chargers with fans. I know it's still preseason, but there's a lot of red in the crowd. Hopefully that doesn't kind of go into the regular season games where it's kind of a lot of opposing fans and not enough Chargers fans. So we'll see. I'll give it a pass for the preseason game, but there was a lot of red in the stands. And Fernando, I don't know if you want to mention more about the crowd, but I think one thing we should mention, even though we don't really cover the 49ers, is Trey Lance's performance. It was fun watching him play. He was kind of rocky at first. Him going with Easton Stick for the North Dakota State Bowl game. But he kind of picked it up, and he has some good flashes, and I can see why 49er fans are really excited to watch Trey Lance play.
The only thing I have to say is 49ers, Cowboys, Raiders, your first three quote-unquote home games. It's really interesting. It's going to get really interesting. That week 2 game, to me, I think is going to be, they're going to see a lot of stars in the crowd, but you never know. I mean, maybe it's just fans will really come out for opening weekend and really be excited for SoFi Stadium, but we'll see. No, Trey Lance looked shaky at first. The only cause for concern for me, Gilbert, is he's holding onto the ball way too long. And I mean, some fans were like, "Oh, well, he's a rookie." I don't remember Justin holding on to this like as long as this kid was holding on to it yesterday. I understand trying to make plays, but sometimes you have to just learn how to throw it away. And I feel like Justin kind of learned how to do that last year. And the only reason why I'm bringing up Justin is because, one, we saw him as a rookie quarterback last year. Two, there's been a lot of comparisons between Justin and Trey Lance. The only thing is Trey Lance doesn't have all that much film on him the way that Justin had the 4 years at Oregon. But the way he held on to the ball, and then he rolls out to his left on that one play where Cortez comes up to him and he's able to evade Cortez, but then Kyler Frackle comes up and sacks him. You don't want to take those sacks. You could have just thrown it into the ground. You could have just, I don't know. And there was other times, Gilbert, where, I mean, now we're sitting together at SoFi Stadium. So shout out to Chargers PR for setting the Compas together. I don't know if Gilbert likes that or not, but there was times where I thought, oh, wow, that tight end's wide open. And Trey would look his way and then be like, he wasn't sure about it. So Trey needs to trust his instincts a little bit more, but I was impressed by that throw to Travis Benjamin. Travis Benjamin, former Chargers receiver, caught a touchdown pass over to Tavon Campbell. But yeah, no, I was impressed by him. I was impressed with him this week. He's a lot bigger than I thought. So that was pretty interesting as well.
Yeah, no, that touchdown pass to Travis Benjamin was pretty nice because he looked off the safety. You know, he didn't give it away, and then he knew that Benjamin was going to cut to the middle, and he threw the ball perfectly for a touchdown there. That's kind of what you want to see from a rookie quarterback, to kind of shake off defenders, make them think you're going one way and you go the other way, and you complete the the one thing that might be hurting Trey Lance is that he knows he's very athletic. He's mobile. I think he's faster than Justin Herbert. So he thinks he could create on the run, move around, and get a first down that way. But as we saw a year ago with Justin Herbert, sometimes it's not worth the big hit. Just throw the ball away. And I think something Justin Herbert did pretty well, that he really relied on his arm, and he tried to make plays with his arm instead of trying to run too much. I know Herbert is not as fast as Trey Lance, but he's still very athletic. And he's like, okay, I took a couple of big hits early. Let's kind of rely on the arm now and keep it safe. So Trey Lance has to remember that at his rookie year. And it's kind of interesting because Justin Herbert a year ago as a rookie in training camp was pretty shaky as well. Yeah. Who knows how he would have performed in preseason games? He didn't have preseason games, but I don't know. Maybe that kind of makes it better for Herbert that he came out without any preseason games and just kind of and did so well in that week 2 game. But Trey Lance, he is, let's say he has a couple of weeks behind, maybe in 2 or 3 weeks, he's doing well. And he did pretty well towards the end of that preseason game, that it's gotten to a point where Kyle Shanahan is now saying, I don't know who's going to start, Jimmy or Trey. And also Trey had a nice pass, 41 yards to I forget the guy's name, Sheffield, but yeah, that was a nice throw as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, you know what though, it makes for a better story that he didn't have any preseason games, Justin. Yeah, I think for the Charger organization, if he would have had 3 good 4 preseason games, I don't think they would have been able to stop the noise, and I think Justin would have gone week 1 against Cincinnati. But that's a story for a different multiverse. If this was the Flash or if this was somewhere else, we could talk about those different multiverses. But right now, Gilbert, I want to talk about something different. You mentioned where Uncle Joe was over the weekend. He went to SummerSlam. So I just want to talk a little bit right now. Let's get into some SummerSlam talk. First of all, Gilbert, I'm gonna go with you first. I need to zen a little bit, but just give me your overall impression of SummerSlam.
Let me ask you, do you want me to go with the main event, Roman Reigns, John Cena, or kind of the biggest storyline, Becky Lynch, the man coming back, and Bianca Belair?
No, just your overall. What you thought overall?
Okay, overall about the show, and then we'll get into
into individual real quick.
I really liked the SummerSlam show. It was 4 hours long, but I was really entertained. But also, I did kind of skip a couple of matches to watch some boxing. So as soon as Becky came on, I was all in. I watched the rest of the show. I even enjoyed. I know you and Joe weren't happy with Charlotte Flair winning the championship, but I enjoyed that match. I enjoyed the Bro and Randy Orton kind of starting off the show as well.
Well,
Overall, yeah, I just learned about the guy. I'm guessing he's playing the stoner role, or Sean Penn from that one movie or whatever. But overall, I really enjoyed the SummerSlam show. I know it kind of been lagging in the last couple of months of the WrestleMania, but just seeing, Becky back and seeing that great match with John Cena and Roman Reigns and surprise with Brock Lesnar. Overall, it was a great show before I got into the boxing with Pacquiao.
so I've been hyping up this pay-per-view for a while. And I mean, we go through every pay-per-view and stuff and we break it down. I was actually very disappointed with this pay-per-view. I was not happy about it.
Really?
I think the disappointing part was there was too many matches. I thought it was SummerSlam was way too long. We didn't need to see what's his name, Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal. Like, you could have used that in the pre-show. Like, why did that even need to be out there? Let me start it off with my disappointment. My number one disappointment was the return of Becky Lynch. And you know me, I love Becky. Becky's me and her, we right there. Oh, wait. Right there. We vibed. It was cool. Like, when I got to interview her, she was super nice. To me, Gilbert, and I've been telling you all weekend, something had to have happened with Sasha Banks. Because Sasha, I remember I saw the referee tell Bianca Belair something, and Bianca was kind of confused, and there was no Sasha Banks. They bring out Carmella. Then it was like, are we really about to get Carmella versus Bianca? Because I've seen that on SmackDown every single night every single SmackDown for the last month and a half. Then Becky comes out, and I get excited. I was in the chair actually jumping up and down, getting excited that Becky was coming out. I see the referee tell Bianca something else, and Bianca was like, wait, why? Obviously, Becky knocks her out, pins her 1, 2, 3, and I was kind of like 26 seconds, that's it. It felt like the Allegiant Stadium, like the air had kind of come out of it. Like, everybody was excited that Becky was back, but after you spend all this time building up Bianca Belair, winning the Royal Rumble, beating Sasha Banks at WrestleMania, beating Bayley these last few months, and then going up against Sasha again at SummerSlam, and all that was gone in 26 seconds. That's the problem with WWE right now. I'm like I said, if something happened with Sasha and if this was a last second thing, all right. But WWE has this fame of building up these characters. Like when Kofi Kingston was the WWE champion, and then for 7 months, and then loses it to Brock Lesnar in 7 seconds. Like, that's just not good. For the future of them, it's hard. And then especially with what happened last Friday with CM Punk going to AEW, there's rumors that Daniel Bryan is heading there next. WWE is not, they're really shaky right now. Like, Monday Night Raw is very shaky. SmackDown is a little bit, SmackDown's better quality, better everything. But WWE should be nervous. I loved Edge versus Seth Rollins. I thought that match was incredible. Edge threw it back to when he was a vampire. The technical match was incredible. John Cena and Roman Reigns, again, incredible match. I told you, Gilbert, yesterday or on Sunday, that I loved what Roman was doing. Roman was literally letting the referee kind of come almost all the way down, and then he jump out of it, and you're like, oh my god! Like when he attitude adjusted him from the turnbuckle, I thought, oh my god, this is it. Like, John Cena's about to win the 70th championship. Literally waits until the hand's about to touch the canvas, and then he jumps out. I was like, oh my god. That was awesome. The Brock Lesnar thing, I mean, I guess the only thing I'm excited for the Brock Lesnar thing is because he's going to be a baby face and Roman Reigns is going to be the heel. And then when I saw Paul Heyman's face go, Brock, no. And then he points at him and he's like, what are you doing with him? I'm like, oh, this is going to be a love triangle, Gilbert. This is going to be exciting. This is going to be funny. But at the same time, I am worried about WWE and the future of WWE just because of the way they're using their superstars. They rely on part-timers a lot. I don't know what's going to happen, but overall, the show was all right. I just, those 2 matches got me excited for it, but overall, I was just kind of disappointed with the overall view of SummerSlam.
Yeah, Fernando, I think you're right on the whole superstar favoritism, and I think that's why the pool for superstars is so small in the WWE, and that's why they always go back to the same well. Like, why is Goldberg on this card? I
That
know
was such a
Goldberg.
bad match.
Goldberg's a Hall of Famer. He's a legend. I remember from his WCW days. I was hyped up for him as a kid, but there's no need for Goldberg. Let's get somebody else on, get some fresh blood there. But it just seems like in the WWE, if you're Roman Reigns, you're John Cena, you're Brock Lesnar, and the women's side, you're Becky Lynch and you're Charlotte, you get whatever you want. And that's why you're not building this. You have NXT where it's helping you get these new stars, but when they become stars, you don't help them elevate to superstardom. And you had that with Bianca Belair, and you squashed that right away because you wanted Becky Lynch. I don't know what happened there with the Sasha Banks, not competing. I started kind of digging in for some conspiracy theories because I know, Fernando, you're always kind of ahead of the game because you're always digging for storylines, and I started thinking, did Sasha have COVID and they needed like a last minute kind of big storyline? One thing I saw was that Sasha was just kind of fed up with the storylines of her always losing in big matches, and she didn't want to be there. I don't know what it is, but I was just really curious to see what happened because this whole Becky Lynch scenario was so weird to him because Bianca was doing so great that the only thing I could come to in my head of theories or conspiracy theories was they're in a pinch. They needed somebody to kind of come back and compete with Bianca Belair, and Vince McMahon quickly went, well, it doesn't get any bigger than the man, Becky Lynch. And just kind of looking at her, I don't think she seemed ready to compete. She didn't seem like she was in wrestling weight. Maybe it was a thing like I think you mentioned, Fernando, that she was there already for Seth Rollins, and somebody pulled her backstage saying, hey, can you come right now? All you need is 30 seconds, and that's all we want. And maybe Becky said, you know what? If you give me the title, I'll come back. And I just can't really figure out what happened because I think Bianca Belair did so great being a star. I thought she was a superstar in my eyes. That's why she's right here behind me this way. I always forget. And, great storyline from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania to now. And they really built her up. And they did a great job with that. And out of nowhere, she's gone. But I am curious to see. I know we're recording this on Monday. What happens on Raw? Like, I'm kind of curious to see what happened. What's the storyline next for Becky Lynch? Like, is she going to give up the belt right away and vacate and give it back to Bianca? And I started thinking of the what if. Like, imagine if this was done properly, the buildup for Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch at WrestleMania next year in Texas. Like, for 3 months, I would have been very pumped up the way I was for SummerSlam with John Cena and Roman Reigns to watch that match. But it was just very awkward. But I did like overall the other matches because it was kind of cool to see Edge throw it back to the Vampire days. Yeah. But Christian and Gangrel, he had the 1990s sunglasses, so that was kind of cool. And that was a great match with Seth Rollins. I was very entertained with Edge's performance. He's an older veteran, but he looked great out there. And I was really into the John Cena Roman Reigns matchup. Like, I was kind of in the middle. Like, I don't really care too much for Roman, but I really like Roman's new
that's your tribal chief.
Yeah, I guess acknowledged. I did like the whole heel turn. So I started the match rooting for Roman Reigns. And then by the end of it, I was rooting for John Cena because he was doing so well. And he had a couple attitude adjustments, and he threw Roman through the where Pat McAfee is at and the table. Like, after all this damage he was creating, and he still kicked out Roman Reigns, like you said, to the last millisecond. That was great theater for me. And I was disappointed that Roman won, but I'm like, you know what? It was a great match. John Cena's probably going to go do movies now, and I'm curious to see what's going on with this Brock Lesnar matchup. But again, we've seen Brock Lesnar. It is a unique angle with Paul Heyman being in the love triangle, like you said. But I'm just disappointed with the Bianca Belair. She is still my champion in my eyes. I know you love Becky Lynch. I was a big fan of her because I love wrestlers who know how to do well on the mic and get you entertained. And she did a great job with the man persona, and she was great on the microphone. So hopefully she comes back on the right terms. But it was just kind of an awkward botch a few seconds there.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I'm gonna end on this. If you're Vince McMahon, Nick Khan, who's now, I think he's running, Nick Khan is running some of the WWE stuff. He said that NXT is about to go through a revamp. So I'm hoping that this revamp is WWE wide as well, where you're going to revamp and help when these NXT stars come up, not to bury them, because they buried a lot of NXT superstars. And the crazy part is, when John Cena was US champion, right before he left to go do Hollywood stuff, he was elevating guys. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, he would have his open challenges, and guys from NXT would come up and they'd put on 5-star matches with John Cena. I remember John Cena started off, I can't remember what pay-per-view, I think it was Survivor Series, I can't remember which one. Started off a pay-per-view one time against Kevin Owens. They put on a 5-star match. The rest of the pay-per-view sucked. Why? Because John Cena had put on such a great match. And if Vince McMahon, if I was him or Triple H or whoever you want, when a part-timer comes back, why don't you watch this Roman Reigns John Cena match to know what a part-timer needs to do to really put on a good match? John Cena went, I think, 25, 30 minutes with Roman Reigns, and he looked good. He was moving. He was doing his thing. He was attitude adjustment. He looked like John Cena from the full-time John Cena wrestler, and he hadn't wrestled in a while. I know he wrestled in live shows and everything, but those were tag team matches. He hadn't wrestled in a while one-on-one. So definitely that's what the criteria should be for a part-timer. Somebody like John Cena who could give you a 15, 20, 25-minute match and make it a 5-star match. So I just hope that WWE does something better, because honestly, I'm starting to want to switch over and see what all that stuff is on TNT. Try and see some AEW stuff. We haven't done it yet, but I might start tuning in. But it's ridiculous. I hope that this, and I know Goldberg, I think they have a pay-per-view coming up in Saudi Arabia. I think Goldberg and Bobby Lashley are going to face off again against each other, which is sad. But let's move on to now. Well, I don't want to say somebody who should be taking a page out of Goldberg's book, but let's talk about Manny Pacquiao. Gilbert, I didn't watch the fight. I was a little bit disappointed with SmackDown, or with SummerSlam, so I didn't end up watching that fight. What did you think, and what were some of your takeaways?
Yeah, with the Manny Pacquiao fight, I wasn't as hyped as I was a couple weeks ago, because Errol Spence Jr., pulled out with an eye injury 2 weeks ago. And, it's kind of like in wrestling. I was excited for this fight because it was the passing of the torch, where Manny Pacquiao, I didn't see any way that Manny Pacquiao was going to beat Errol Spence. And then Manny Pacquiao was doing the right thing. Like, for a long time, Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather wouldn't pass the torch to these younger guys. Like, fight them, build their profile, and let's move on. You guys have done your time. You guys are legends. And Pacquiao was trying to do that. I earned a lot of respect for Pacquiao with Errol Spence, because it probably doesn't get much better than Errol Spence. I know Terrence Crawford is up there. But when he pulled out, I was like, okay, I kind of lost some luster there. But I kind of expected Pacquiao not to be, as strong, because he's 42 years old. And when Ugas came in, the Cuban, the Cubano, I thought the competition level was a little closer. Ugas is not on Errol Spence's level, but I thought, Pacquiao could probably win this fight. I know he's 42, but, at some point, though, Father Time is going to get you. And it didn't get Manny Pacquiao 2 years ago, when I was shocked that he did so well against Keith Thurman, and he took the championship belt there, and then he kind of went away for 2 years, and he came back. And I was like, man, he looked so good. He was fast. He was powerful. He really gave Keith Thurman a nightmare. But this Manny Pacquiao that showed up last weekend against Ugas, who I don't think Ugas is as good as Keith Thurman, but Ugas was there at the right time. He was gonna fight on the card. He got called in 10 days notice, and he stepped up. And for Manny Pacquiao, he didn't look the same. He looked really slow. He didn't have any power in his punches. Pacquiao came out pretty fast, which you always see Pacquiao kind of move around, hit the fist and move and come at you really hard. And Ugas was kind of, at first struggling with it the first round. And then by the second round, Pacquiao just looked tired, really slow. That burst in speed went away right away. He had no power in his punches. Ugas was not afraid of Pacquiao. And it wasn't like Ugas had a great fight. He was just a little more active, and he was bringing the fight to Manny Pacquiao, who just looked gassed out and tired. And it was still pretty close on the cards, but I saw some notable boxing reporters give it to Pacquiao as well. It wasn't a robbery, but I gave it to Ugas. I think Ugas was more active, and I think he was the right man to win the job. And in Las Vegas, they always have these weird scorecards, and there was no robbery. Ugas won that fair and square. It was a fight of a lifetime for a guy who I think was selling. I forget he had like a rags to riches story from Cuba, so good for him to kind of be a world champion and do it in this biggest stage. But I think Manny Pacquiao knows this is it for him. He didn't really say for sure he's going to retire. He's going to run for president in the Philippines. I don't see how you fight still when you have that much on your plate. But if it is the end of Manny Pacquiao, it looks like it to me physically. What an amazing career, Hall of Fame. What a legend. I remember so many fight parties growing up watching Manny Pacquiao against all my Mexican heroes, fighters, and he put a beat down on most of them. But nothing but respect to Manny Pacquiao, but I think it's time to hang it up, man.
So you don't think he fights Errol Spence?
No, but I don't know what's going on with Errol Spence, because that eye injury sounds serious. There's no way Manny Pacquiao could wait for that. Like I mentioned, he's about to run for president. He's already 42 years old. And I think Terrence Crawford, who also almost got that fight against Pacquiao because of money issues, didn't get it. And that's why Pacquiao went to Errol Spence. And Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, they kind of missed the boat, because they thought if we beat this Manny Pacquiao, which didn't look like a problem, your profile raises. And Crawford's like, man, I really missed the boat here. I could have beat this Manny Pacquiao. Errol Spence probably thinking the same. I missed a lot of money and I missed an opportunity to raise my profile. So I think now with Pacquiao out the picture, Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence got to fight each other, the best of the best, and no more waiting for the cash cow Manny Pacquiao. He's retired. I don't know yet. He looks like it, but if it's anything positive that comes out of this kind of situation, is that Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence finally fight each other, hopefully by the end of the year. It's kind of hard to see that maybe in 2022, but that is boxing for you. They can just wait all the time to make the biggest fights.
Because you mentioned that, Gilbert, it just reminds me of the one thing that I've always hated about boxing, and that was that we were never able to watch Manny Pacquiao against Floyd Mayweather in their sort of primes. And it was because people say that Floyd was ducking and dodging him. Other people said that Manny wanted more money. I mean, you never, like, Manny wanted 50-50 and Floyd's like, you're crazy. Who knows what it is, but it sucks that we never able to watch, because the one fight that they did, I think Manny came in with like a separated shoulder, like he had something wrong with his shoulder or arm or something. So it's just disappointing. Hopefully Crawford and Errol Spence go at it, because that's what you want. Boxing needs these big time fights. Not I mean, you want to survive, especially against the UFC and other stuff going on. I mean, that boxing needs to get its crap together and really try and put on the best fights that there are.
Yeah, no, it's kind of been a struggle for boxing this summer. There was no Tyson Fury, no Deontay Wilder. We got the Ugas last minute replacement. Man,
bro, what are you talking about? We got Mayweather versus
oh yeah, Logan Paul. But actually, his brother fights this weekend, which is Jake Paul against Tyron Woodley, which I probably will watch. Man, I keep getting wrong with Jake Paul, but Tyron Woodley has some punch on him, so I'll go Tyron Woodley and kind of end this Paul brothers reign, I guess, as you call it, against MMA fighters. But let's go back to real boxing. There's no Canelo Alvarez on Mexican Independence Weekend. Like, come on, like that is the biggest weekend for us, man. Like, we need boxing on Mexican Independence Weekend.
He's waiting until November 8th, I think.
Yeah, so now we have to wait till November, which is fine. The fight's gonna happen. So, but come on, it's you got to have fights in Cinco de Mayo and Mexican Independence Weekend. These are holidays for boxing, and we're not even doing that properly right now. I get it. There's COVID. We're still in a pandemic. Things happen last minute. Injuries happen. But come on, we got to get fights on that weekend. And like, I don't want to watch Oscar De La Hoya and Vitor Belfort go at it for that weekend. But whatever, I probably will. I think I heard Los Angeles, but I'm not even convinced that fight's gonna happen. Things always happen, especially with these comeback fighters. But we'll see if it's in Los Angeles, and if the Chargers are home that weekend, why not?
All right, Gilbert. Well, you know what? Enough SummerSlam, enough all this talk. It is time for the Rap Sheet interview. But before we get there, let's play another sound clip from the Chargers game with Adrian and Francisco. This clip is the Asante Samuel Jr. interception. Adrian calls him electric Sante. Wow, that's
Alexandre.
Alexandre. Man, that got me. So we'll play the clip and then welcome Ian Rapoport.
Para allá suelta la pelota Jimmy Garoppolo. Interceptado. Los Chargers se llevan la intercepción. Y es nada más y nada menos que Asante Electrizante Samuel.
We have a very, very special guest. A guest so huge, it feels like it's breaking news for Compas on the Beat. But we'll leave the breaking news to him because that's his area of expertise. If you're a football fan, you definitely follow him on Twitter and you know him as RapSheet. But he does have a first and last name and probably has 4 phones in his pocket. I'm, of course, talking about the great Ian Rapoport, the insider for NFL Network. Ian, how are you? And was I correct? Do you have 4 phones?
Thank you guys for having me. I'm very excited about this. I'm glad we got to meet in California a couple of days ago. No, I have 1 phone. I've never understood why people need multiple phones. I mean, first of all, I only have 2 ears. I only have 1 mouth. It's not like I can really do 2 things at the same time, right? So I can only talk to one person. But what I do is I text on my computer, or I can talk to someone on the AirPods and tweet at the same time. All 1 phone. It works perfectly for me.
Hey, Ian, I feel like I should talk really fast and just get to my point, my question. You're such a busy man. You got breaking news, but really appreciate you coming on Compas on the Beat. And Ian, I kind of saw Fernando, talking to you from afar, and I'm like, is Fernando hounding you to get on the show? He's very, aggressive, really, putting pressure. And I'm like, leave Ian alone. That guy's a busy man. But I started thinking, if you don't ask, you don't receive. So I'm assuming for your job field, you always got to kind of, be a pest and get to people and talk to people. How do you kind of balance that out in your work field where, you're not overstepping, but you're also, you're talking to contacts and being in contact in the regular?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that I try to do is I try to be very upfront with what I want and what I'm after, right? So if I'm going to annoy someone, if someone has an injury and I need to call the same person several times in a day, I'm very upfront. Like, this is a big injury. It's an important story. Like, I'm going to be annoying and I apologize. Like, life is much easier when you're really, really upfront. And then I think the other thing is, you hope that you build up a good enough relationship where with whoever you're talking to, whichever source it is, whichever person it is, where they understand there's the person who's nice to sit with and maybe have a drink with and normal person. Then there's like the pretty directed, aggressive person who likes to break a lot of news. And, it's like when sometimes I'll ask a question that's sensitive or I'll break something that somebody doesn't want out. Sometimes I like to ask people, like, do you know what my job is? Like, do you actually know? Because a lot of times it is to report things that people don't know. And sometimes you have to ask uncomfortable things. But I try to be really upfront with it. So even if people don't like it, at least they understand where it's coming from.
Wow. Yeah, it's a good response, Ian. But have you ever gotten to a point where somebody just like, hey, leave me alone, or gotten to a point like, block your number for the day?
Yeah. That's happened to me plenty. Now, blocking numbers, I've had a couple of people block my numbers, which is okay. Doug Peterson did it for a year. We had a big laugh about it at the combine. Basically, they were having like a whole bunch of quarters. This was the beginning of, was Carson Wentz going to start? I think it was Foles. I broke that Foles was going to start the opener, and no one was really sure kind of where it came from, I guess. And I think Doug just didn't like all the texts and the back and forth and just blocked my number to stay out of it. We had a drink at the combine. We cheersed when he unblocked my number. But I don't take offense to that. I really don't. Like, there's a head coach in the league who very famously in my world, because I told a couple of my friends about it, told me, hey, can you just F off right now? And I take no offense, and we laugh about it. And that is just life. And it is okay, because not everybody wants to talk to a reporter at all times. And if I'm going to be upfront and honest with what I do, they need to be upfront and honest with their responses. So if someone wants to tell me to go away, that is absolutely their prerogative.
Ian, you started covering college athletics with Alabama, Mississippi State for newspapers, and then you covered the New England Patriots for the Boston Herald. How did those jobs prepare you for your current job, and when did you realize you wanted to be an NFL insider?
I realized I wanted to be an NFL insider when NFL Network sat me down at a conference table at the Super Bowl, Patriots Giants #2, started interviewing me for an hour, and I had no idea why or for what the end goal was. And they told me they wanted to hire me, and I was very confused, and I never thought about being in TV. That was kind of where it started for me. And at the time, my boss, Eric Weinberger, was like, maybe you could be our insider. And I really didn't know what that was. I mean, I knew some of the guys who did it, but I didn't know how I myself could do it. But about 9 months later, that's actually what I was. I mean, to me, you know, the jobs at mostly Alabama prepared me for, you know, being in the NFL, for covering the Patriots, because every single second there's a possibility of breaking news, and a lot of it's hard to get. So you spend a lot of time being like, all right, this player is ineligible. I need to prove it. Or this player, there's a recruiting violation or whatever it is at Alabama. I need to prove it. How do I get to it? And I think that the sort of lack of access in that program really prepared me for the NFL. So, you know, even though it wasn't TV, having to find out news when it's not really out there, I think is something that kind of carries on regardless of whatever job, whatever story I'm working on.
Ian, we connected at Chargers training camp for one of your around the NFL stops. I mean, you have a lot. What stood out to you the most from Chargers camp? Was it Derwin James, Justin Herbert, Brandon Staley? What caught your eye?
You know, I posted a nice picture of me and Herbert talking after practice, and a lot of people took notice of how tall he is and how tall I am not. So I think, you know, I'd met him before at the Senior Bowl. I think that certainly stood out to me. You know, I think the main thing is the Chargers should be good, you know, and a lot of times when you have a new coach, it's like a rebuilding situation where, you know, it's going to take 2 or 3 years, clean out 1 year, build it back up, draft a quarterback. We see that, you know, over and over and over. It's not like that for the Chargers. I mean, you know, obviously Anthony Lynn was fired, but there were definitely some moments where I wasn't so sure he was going to be, because, you know, this was a place that had plenty of talent, and a couple of things happened differently. This could be rolling right along. Now it's going to be with a new coach, but all the same really good pieces are there. I mean, you got a rock star young quarterback. You probably have a franchise left tackle. You have a playmaker on defense ×2. And this is, you know, you kind of got everything with the Chargers, really.
Ian, going back to you mentioned Herbert in the Senior Bowl, it's kind of wild to think that Herbert had a crazy rookie year, and he was the third quarterback taken in the 2020 draft behind Burrow and Tua. Just going back to that 2020 draft, any stories stood out for why Herbert wasn't, you know, seen as good as Burrow and Tua in terms of talent?
Yeah, no, I think first of all, I'm not sure he played very well his last year in college. Like, I mean, I don't know how much of it is fault, but like, I don't think that offense was very good at Oregon. And certainly, I mean, it was, you know, the head coach is an offensive line coach, certainly didn't showcase his talents. I remember watching, and I would always watch Oregon games because I'd be working at like 11:30 on a Saturday night. They'd always be on TV. And I remember thinking, like, this guy's talented, but what am I watching? Like, it wasn't, you know, he could pull it down and run. He could make some wow throws, but like, it looked like a disjointed, weird offensive something or other. And I didn't know what in the world he was. So, you know, I think that's part of the reason. You know, I think everyone was just, you knew that Burrow was going to be the superstar because of the year he put together. And everyone decided 3 years ago that Tua was going to be a potential #1 pick. So then I was like, who's next? And Herbert was next.
Ian, today, obviously, or on last Thursday, the Chargers had a joint practice against the 49ers. There's a lot of talk about Trey Lance. Is he gonna be the quarterback for the 49ers? There's quarterbacks all over the place, rookie quarterbacks, that a lot of people are asking who is gonna be the next starter. In your opinion, who do you feel like is maybe the slam dunk choice to start week 1? Who do you feel like could have the best chance to start week 1?
I'm not sure any of the rookies are going to start week 1. I mean, Mac Jones maybe has the best chance. Doesn't seem like Trey Lance does. Doesn't seem like Fields does. I was there a couple of days ago. Seems like it's going to be Dalton as a starter, and then Fields we'll see. It's hard to come in as a rookie. Now, obviously, Trevor Lawrence is starting. We know that, but that's sort of the given. So of the others, I'm not sure anyone else, we're going to see in there. I think Mac probably has the best chance to go in the fastest. Trey Lance has a good chance to go in and make an impact. I'm not sure how ready he is. And I think it'll probably be in some short spurts.
Ian, I know you're a busy man, but before we let you go, I have to ask you, what's your weirdest breaking news story? Like ever that you've been in a weird location in the middle of Disneyland? Any awkward situation anywhere where you've gotten something like that?
I mean, so many. I mean, so many. Like last year I was at my parents' pool and I'm like soaking wet in a bathing suit, and I look at my phone and all I see is all the details on the Jamal Adams trade to Seattle. I'm like, what? All right, just dry the hands off, tweet it as soon as possible. Like that stuff will happen. I got a text at 2:32 in the morning during free agency that CJ Mosley was done to the Jets, 5 years, $85 million. And I woke up at 5 and I was like in a panic because I obviously missed the story by 2.5 hours, except no one else had it because everyone was sleeping like a normal person. But I had to wake up everyone. So I called Adam Gase, called Mike McCagnon. I had to wake up everyone to confirm what in the world was going on. That was kind of a fun one. And I was glad I ended up breaking that one at 5:45 in the morning or something like that.
I wonder how Adam Gase felt getting a call from RapSheet at 5 in the morning and waking him up.
There was an expletive involved. Adam's a great guy. He understood. I believe it was something like Ian can go F himself. But yeah, that's right. Something like that, I believe, was the if I remember correctly, it's something like that.
Well, Ian, the Compas would never tell you that. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you jumping on with us. Everybody, go follow him. If you aren't, then you're not a real football fan. At RapSheet, that is Ian Rapoport, NFL Insider. Thank you so much for jumping on with us, Ian.
All right, thank you for having me, guys.
Man, those compas really do deliver. What a great interview with Ian Rapoport. So for those keeping track, the compas have had a RapSheet, Anthony Lynn, Chad Ochocinco Johnson, Austin Eckler, and Rayshawn Slater, and many other big guests on Compas on the Beat. But you know who else delivers? That's Brewery X in Anaheim. It's time for Dan and Dago to open a cold one and start drinking, so I'm headed to Brewery X in Anaheim, and you should too. I'll be the guy in the cowboy hat and the powder blue Justin Herbert jersey. I'm so happy I can finally say I love my quarterback, and I sold out and I bought this jersey. I'm so excited for the season. I'm telling you, this is the place to be. Brewery X in Anaheim has the best atmosphere for these fine summer nights. But now, let's get to Una Más, presented by Brewery X in Anaheim. Fernando has something to say about this dumb box challenge, and Gilberto finally caught up on Love is Blind. Wait, what? Has he even watched the rest of the Harry Potter movies? What's wrong with this stooge? Anyway, here's Una Más. Gilbert, we got a lot of information from RapSheet. Hopefully this isn't a one and done. Hopefully we can get them maybe down the line again on Compas. That was a lot of fun. Biggest takeaway from talking to RapSheet?
Yeah, just that you were wrong on the 4 phones. I'm surprised that a guy like that doesn't have multiple phones. He said one, and I love the stories. He was pretty open about Doug Peterson telling the F off now and being blocked. So those are pretty interesting stories. I was kind of wondering if he will give us a lot, but he was cool. I know he's a busy man, so I appreciate jumping on with the Compas for about 10 minutes and taking a break from all the breaking news.
Yeah, I know, definitely, Gilbert. That was a lot of fun. Like I said, hopefully we can have him on again. Gilbert, there's times where I question what's going on in society today. I'm kind of a hermit. I don't like leaving my I don't like leaving my domain, my house. Sometimes I do just to go hang out with you because you're a compas. So I definitely love that. But I've been seeing this crap over the weekend, and I'm like, what is this? So let me just show you, Gilbert, what I'm talking about. It's called the Milk Box or Milk Crate Challenge.
Okay, I've heard of it. I've seen the
You've
videos.
heard of it. Okay. Well, for anybody out there who has not watched it, let me give you a little something of what this thing is. Look at that. Look at him going up. What is he shaking?
Oh, boy.
Oh,
That must have hurt his back.
oh
Oh yeah, let's
no.
play that one.
Hold on.
Oh, there's more. Okay.
Oh, there's one more. I need to show this one.
Is it worse? My back kind of hurts. My tailbone. Oh my god.
Oh, Gilbert.
What is going on with society today? But it's good videos for me to watch. But I question people a lot now.
The other guy goes up gingerly, slips and falls on the back. The other guy's running up there, kind of Usain Bolt like, and falls on his face. I'm laughing, but I'm angry at the same time because what the hell is that? Like, are people that bored? It's either people are fighting in stadiums, and that homeboy,
Oh
that
my
one
god.
guy gets oh my god, Gilbert, it's all you. You talk through this.
Yeah, if you're listening to the show on the audio version, you missed the videos, but it's a lot of people hitting their faces, hitting their tailbones, breaking their backs, and it's been a minute since we had some of these challenges. It's been a lot of dancing challenges on TikTok. By the way, Fernando, you went viral finally on TikTok. Shout out to you with the George Kittle
Appreciate
video
that.
asking Roman Reigns. I'm asking him about Roman Reigns and John Cena. So you went viral, but it's been a minute since we had some of these wild challenges, but this ain't it. This is not the one you want to do. I think I've seen maybe 2 people perform it successfully, and props to them, but I would not risk it. I saw a guy, I'll call it a doobie, rolling a doobie while he's going down
Oh, I saw that one.
the crates, and he was kind of. I saw a meme where they put him at the Olympic podium, and he was just standing there because he did it properly. But yeah, and then now you're showing us these wild fights, and oh
So,
man,
like,
I don't even know if I can watch this again. This is really bad.
So it's either like we're doing this or we're doing milk. Like, dude, is this a date? Like, if that's a first date, and this
Oh,
dude
man.
takes this hell right here, like, oh my god, like it's either we're doing this or we're doing that. Like, milk crate challenges this, and then she kind of like defends. Oh my god, like this was all bad, Gilbert. It was all bad. It's not a good weekend for society.
Yeah, like we're finally going back to games and concerts because of COVID. Can we behave? Like no more fights. I haven't seen any videos from the Chargers 49ers, so maybe that's a good thing that people will all behave. But
Oh,
that Steelers,
that one lady went viral last week. The one that threw the
oh,
soda to
at
get
the
it all started.
yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
lady that
the-
killed Selena Quintanilla. Yeah,
Oh my god.
she just that lady just she got it all started. But yeah, it seems like yesterday was a pretty calm night for the Chargers. Knock on wood. But man, I just some of these challenges, some of those fightings, like let's be better. Let's try and be better.
Yeah, no, it's been ugly out there, man. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. No fights. The box challenge, whatever. That's on
Yeah.
your time. Do that. But let's keep the fighting at stadium to a minimal.
Yeah, no, and our good friend of the show, Nick Hamilton, tweeted out last night. He was like, "Why don't you guys stack that bread instead of stacking them milk crates?" I started dying of laughter. I'm like, shout out to Nick on that one. But Gilbert, let's get to some people's favorite segment where it's Gilbert watches TV. I think some some fans have grown frustrated with the way you break down movies or TV shows, but I love it. I think it's funny just because it feels like you're a little kid who's never seen this stuff, and you're kind of like, well, why does Dumbledore do this, or why does this happen? So it's pretty funny the way you break down movies or shows. So you got anything new for us?
Yeah, you know what, Fernando? You got the movies, I got the TV shows, and I finally caught up on something, and it's not Harry Potter. I know that really upsetted Dan and Dago that I have not caught up on Harry Potter, but I did catch up on Love is Blind, and I was very frustrated with these couples, these people. But I am never satisfied because I'm like, what's up with these dramatic couples? But then I don't like the couples that don't fight, and I'm like, there's not enough drama for me. They're boring. Get them off the TV screen. But when there
You
is
remind me of
drama,
that Ryan Gosling scene. What do you want?
yeah,
What from the Notebook? What do you want?
it was just really frustrating watching. I think it was like 5 or 6 couples finally get married, and then like some of these people know they don't want to marry the person they chose in the pods when when they're not seeing their faces. Yeah, it's like all for TV, and I'm just like, it's very suspenseful. I'm like, what? He said no, I'm not gonna marry you. I'm like, what? And
So
then
is this still season 1? Are you still
yeah,
watching the
yeah,
first
yeah.
season?
I'm
Okay.
behind. I'm really behind. So
Okay. No.
I got to the weddings, and let's see. I don't remember names, as you know, from last week's Star Wars. I don't remember people's name, but I want to say yeah, I know Barnett's name.
Yeah.
I could tell he's not into
Amber.
and he's pretty much paying for everything. He doesn't like that. I could tell. He almost was gonna say no, but he didn't. I'm like, you should have said no. I don't know why. Let's see. The one guy, I want to say his name is like Powers, which is kind of an interesting last name.
Oh yeah, with Gigi.
Yeah, with G, he was trying to blame everything on her. Like, you are the reason why I said no to you. I'm like, ouch. But they're like, I saw the reunion show and they're back together. I was really frustrated with
the dismay and the frustration of Dan and Dago. By the way,
okay,
shout
so
out Gigi, if you're listening, Dan and Dago loves you.
Okay, we're on the same page there. But she takes them back apparently. And then the one I was really frustrated was with the one lady who drinks a lot of wine, who won't admit that she's stuck on Barnett, and she's trying really hard to like this. Yeah, she's really trying really hard to like Mark. I guess I do know the names pretty well. And she did them pretty dirty. Like at the wedding, she had no family there at all. Like she knew she was gonna say no to this guy. This guy Mark was in denial. He was delusional that he thought that this girl actually liked him. Overall, the weddings were really frustrating, but I'll get into season 2 now. I think there's like 3 episodes on that, and I'll see how it goes. But I found myself very frustrated. But yeah, there's reasons why I haven't caught up on Harry Potter, because also I haven't watched Ted Lasso. That's going to upset a lot of people as well. We got to get into Ted Lasso, Fernando. We got to catch up on that for sure.
We really do. I mean, we have 2 weeks before the regular season gets started, so we got to get moving. But let me ask you a question, Gilbert. If you were in that situation, I mean, I know you have your partner and everything, but if you were in that situation, do you think you could do that or no? Like on the show?
Well, if my partner's listening,
no. Well, yeah, but like, she's not there. She's not there.
Okay, well, the wedding thing, like the shotgun wedding.
No. Like the whole show, like that. You're in that reality show. You're going through that.
I don't know, man. Like I could barely handle 1 hour of my face on Compas, so I don't know if I could have cameras following me all around. I guess I'll get frustrated, but yeah, I wonder how awkward would it be, like if they're, in your head, you're gonna say no to this person. All their family are gonna come to the wedding, and like you're like the baddest guy on the planet. Also, one of the guys, I think his name was Kenny. I really got invested in the show. I know the names. He got rejected by the woman, and he has like a whole speech saying how this happens in life and he'll bounce back. I'm like, man, this guy just got dumped on TV and he's giving out a motivational lesson to the crowd. I'm like, okay, that was pretty cool. But I don't know. I really got into it. Like, as you know, Fernando, I'm more into TV. Just to kind of give you guys some quick recommendations. Mystic Quest on Apple TV has been pretty funny for me. I don't know if I mentioned it. I probably have. I'm losing track. That's Mac from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He's now he started like a game in that show. I've been really into documentaries. Dan and Dago knows I like crime docs. Cocaine Cowboys on Netflix. There's like these 2 drug lords in Miami, how they kind of got big and started doing all these crazy things. What else did I have on my list? I already forget. Fernando, let me take a quick second and check. So I have some good reviews here.
I think you What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, and that's I really love that show, the vampire show. It's like a reality, it's like kind of like an Office kind of vibe, reality TV, but they're vampires living in the real world. Season 3 comes out in September. No. But there is a movie. It kind of, I think it was like a movie in New Zealand or Australia that kind of became like a cult classic, and they made a TV show here. in the US the version. And I really love the US version. There's 2 seasons, so I was rewatching it again the whole weekend because season 3 comes out September 3rd. So if you haven't watched What We Do in Our in the Shadows, I recommend. And that is Gilberto's TV picks.
There you go. Speaking of Love is Blind, I had a friend who she keeps on telling me Dan and Dago could get so famous if he went on Love is Blind on the new show. I'm like, I don't think he could stand half of the stuff that they do on the show. You know how Dan and Dago, he's an old soul. Dan and Dago's an old soul. He barely knows how to use his phone. Like, he doesn't like technology. So it would be pretty funny if he jumped on the show, but she's like, he would be so awesome. I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know if the world is ready for Dan and Dago yet.
He will definitely be in a toxic relationship and in a train wreck with drama, and he will be must watch TV, and I would love it.
Oh yeah, it'd be crazy. Gilbert, before we sign off, just breaking news right now. Breaking news for Charger fans and for Gilbert, I saw your face. Former Charger Forrest Lamp has been placed on IR by the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, dang.
Interesting development. I think if you're placed on IR before the season starts, that means you're done for the season. You're not allowed to come back. So hopefully Forrest Lamp didn't tear his ACL or on that knee that he has or sustained that bad of an injury. Hopefully everything's good with him. But yeah, no, it sucks when you see somebody who, and Forrest was always great with us, that he gets hurt and everything. He gets hurt and hopefully he's all right and he keeps his head up because he's a good guy, Gilbert.
Sorry, I think I maybe lost you a little bit on my bad Wi-Fi here, Fernando. But yeah, that's a tough injury for Forrest Lamp. You hate injury, especially this time of year before the season starts, and hopefully he bounces back. But they could probably use Forrest right now, this offensive line depth chart, because the backups, because they're not doing too well right now.
Yeah, no, 100% Gilbert. But hey, everybody, do not forget, Gilbert still has this contest out. Go out there, find that tweet, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, and make sure you get into this contest. It's a really cool gift that Gilbert's giving out. And honestly, we have a lot more in store for you guys. We do have we will have some news upcoming. I don't know if next episode or the episode after that, but we do have some news coming out about the way we're going to structure Compas during the regular season. So we just want to let you guys know that that is coming up soon. But for right now, Gilbert, you know what? It's time. Vámonos.
Hold on, Fernando. I just want to say that, yeah, we are doing big things, and I think this episode was a glimpse of that. Like, we had Ian Rapoport, RapSheet. We had sound bites from games with like Adrian Garcia Marquez and Francisco Pinto. Like, these Spanish highlights are amazing. I'm starting to feel like a real big time show, man. We got a new layout here as well. Dan and Dago and I became friends again. Hopefully he's not just going to backstab me later. But we're doing so much, man. I just want to say props to you, props to Dan, and anybody supporting and listening and has entered the content. We're giving away stuff. We're doing so much. I know this show was really long, but there was so much to talk about with Chargers, SummerSlam, Pacquiao, RapSheet, and adding those sound bites is pretty cool as well. But yeah, we're going to give some news, kind of change the structure a little bit next week. But with that,
hold on. I got to tell you, though, shout out to you as well, Gilbert. You said shout out to Dan and shout out to me, but shout out to you as well. When we started this, I didn't think we were going to grow this fast. So honestly, I'm very excited about the direction that Compas is heading. And with this news coming up, I think fans are going to get excited about it. And honestly, the three of us are honestly trying to bring you guys the best stuff. Dan and Dago may have a bigger role coming up soon as well. So we're definitely excited about the things coming up. Thank you guys so much for rocking with your Compas. We're excited. We literally are we can't wait to tell you guys the news coming up soon. But Gilbert, take it away.
Ya nos vamos, pues vámonos.